Welcome to today's People to People. I'm Jewel Hillary in for Micah Mater. Let's get started. It used to be what happens in horror movies. The black guy dies first. Now it's the title of a new book examining the history and growth of black storytellers rather, in one of the most lucrative film genres. The Black Guy Dies First, a black horror cinema from fodder to Oscar, comes from Robin Means Coleman and Mark H. Harris. They're also the duo behind the documentary Horror Noir. Mark H. Harris joins us from Los Angeles. Mark, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so first of all, congratulations on the book, The Black Guy Dies First. Let's jump right in. So this book, you all use a little bit of dry humor to give the history of how black actors are portrayed in horror films and use that portrayal to mix in like how society is portraying black folks during a certain era in time. Is that a gist of it?
Yeah. We call the book The Black Guy Dies First because I think when most people think about black people in horror movies, they think about the black character dying. And, we kind of use that trope as kind of a fun little way to get into the story of how black characters are portrayed in the genre. And we kind of thought about, what does the black character dying really mean? And it really is kind of a form of marginalization of the black characters. They're we kind of use that trope to talk about how black characters are put into these particular boxes and they perform these certain roles that are rarely the heroic roles who survive to the end of the movie. They're kind of in these other particular roles that are sidekicks or whatnot, and they are, in horror movies, if you're not the lead, you probably will end up dead at the end. So we kind of use that as a way to kind of talk about representation in horror over the last 50 years or so.
Yeah, I must say, when I first saw the title, I chuckled a little bit because I was like, oh, wow, yeah, this is something that I think just kind of in black culture, you go to a movie and you're like, oh, yeah, let's see how long he lasts, But then, your book, like you said, there's a deeper meaning behind it. It's not just in terms of entertainment, but, go a little deeper into some of the nuances and dissect what some of the instances in movies portray when the black character dies first or before the end of the movie.
Well, we kind of break down, we have some kind of fun kind of with some of the roles that black characters tend to play in horror movies. So we talk about, there's kind of a spook character whose basic job is to be afraid throughout the movie and they kind of run away, that sort of thing. We have like a sidekick character whose job is to kind of support the white hero and kind of be there and usually ends up in kind of the crosshairs. We have characters like the magical Negro who has some sort of magical ability and they use that to help the white hero save the day. We have like the sacrificial Negro who ends up, killing themselves in order to save the white hero, so the white hero can get all the shine. So we kind of have fun with some of the roles that black characters tend to play over the years. But like I said, the black characters, because they're not the stars, they tend to end up a lot of times dead or marginalized in some other way. So I think it's an interesting double-edged sword because the black character dying is a form of marginalization on one hand, but on the other hand, in a horror movie, having a death scene that's over the top and creative is kind of a badge of honor too. So
Okay.
it's kind of an interesting dichotomy there, where it the worst thing to have is to kind of have like an anonymous off-screen death. But if you are going to die, at least have something that's really over the top, creative, something that maybe saves the world, that sort of thing. So we kind of talk about some of the subtleties in horror, which is, it's an interesting genre that has, these roles that are, marginalized, but there can be places within this marginalization that Black people have found to kind of have some sort of the spotlight.
Okay, let's talk about the progression. So we spoke a little bit about Horror Noir, the documentary that you and Robin brought out in 2019. So I learned a little bit more about the Night of the Living Dead, where you have a man who he's a black hero, and so he gets killed at the end, unfortunately. But then let's bring things back into the more modern era, where we have films like Get Out, where the black main character, the protagonist, survives. Talk about the progression from that era to now in terms of black roles in horror films.
Well, it's been kind of a up and down ride in terms of black roles in horror over the years. We start the book in 1968 when Night of the Living Dead came out, and even though the black character in that dies at the end, he actually is the main hero in the story. Everybody basically dies, but he kind of is the last one to die, and he does, survive the night, and he's only killed by accident by a group of zombie hunters who mistake him for a zombie and shoot him dead, which is, an ironic ending.
All right, Mark, I'm
But
sorry we're going to have to cut you off. We're running out of time, but thank you so very much. We definitely want people to learn more about all of this. The title is The Black Guy Dies First, Black Horror Cinema from Fodder to Oscar, from Chicagoans Robin Means Coleman and Mark H. Harris. It's available everywhere books are sold.